Hey guys, we're back. This time we're taking a look at Asking for Trobils. And this was originally by Kraken Games. It was recently picked up by Breaking Games for this reprint. So if the box looks a little different, that's why. There's also a few things inside that are different, which we'll get to. Most notably, the original Kickstarter version had a double-sided board. One side was pure white and orange, and nobody really liked it, but it was kind of a bonus for the Kickstarter backers. And they did away with that. A lot of the components used to be wooden tokens, which are now just normal cardboard tokens. Some of those I even think look better as the cardboard tokens, so there's not a big loss there. They did a big upgrade to some of the artwork and changed around some of the wording on some of the cards just to make it more clear, as well as clearing up the board a little. The old one was segmented off all the different sections. They kind of got rid of those lines and spread everything out a little bit more. But anyway, it's a really fun worker placement game where you're basically building up an engine to gather resources so that you can kill off these Trobil monsters that are terrorizing the planet Paradise. Anyway, we're going to get right in and take a look. So the first thing we have here is our book right on top. As always, nice colorful explanation of all the different tokens and components, how many there should be of each. I love it when they put actually how many there are of each, especially later on. You can make sure you didn't lose any pieces, or if you buy a used game. There's a quick overview on how to set up. Then the turn order goes in here. They have a special section on each of the different locations, so you know what they are. More of those. How the end game works. And then a big like rules FAQ clarification thing in the back here. And on the very back there's a section on how to teach it to new players, which is really nice. Next thing we have is our board. And it's a 4-piece fold out here, if I can get it. And as I said before, it's only one-sided now. But I think it looks a lot cleaner than the original version of the game. And they moved all of the planets to the outer edges, and everything's spaced out a little bit more. They used to have like these lines that cut in between each segment all the way around, so it helped differentiate the different locations, but at the same time it kind of cluttered it up a little. They also had a little bit more color to this one, some different shades, where the original game was very, very orange. This still has quite a bit of orange in it, but they've mellowed it out quite a bit. So the game comes with 8 different playable character factions, I guess. And each one has a unique ship design. These are the little dashboards. They're all reminiscent of famous sci-fi. That reminds me of the Planet Express ship from Futurama. Kind of looks like a Klingon bird of prey. Sort of resembles a Federation ship. You got me on that one. I'm sure somebody will have something out there that resembles that. That one doesn't look so much in the picture, but the model itself kind of looks like a firefly. And so on. Each player gets one of these little dashboards. Has your logo in the middle of your ship type. And then these different locations on here are going to be where you put the tokens to build up your engine. They call them contacts in this, where you're going to get these little tokens to put there. We'll get into it in a little bit. But the nice thing about these is that they line up perfectly with how they're spaced out on the board. I don't know if that was intentional, but depending on where you're sitting on the board, so like from our perspective here, we put this here, the moon is here, the comet is here, the, I can't remember the name of the planet there, is over there. So everything is straight across from where it should be, well, except for this one, which is over here. But you get the idea. They're pretty much in order. The cracked planet's over there, the asteroid belt's over here. And it helps you remember which goes where. The next thing we have are the really cool player icon pawns here. and they're all unique to the type of ship. And there's quite a variety of them. Like I said with the other thing, they all reminisce of different sci-fi. I'm sure I'm missing one. Oh, I'm missing the ring one. But very nice. You start off with one of these and you can build more throughout the course of the game depending on the number of players. Next we have our ore. And I like the fact that these on all the cards now are actually shown as black ore tokens, where in the original game I think everything was orange, even the icons. So they were kind of hard to tell apart, but very easy to tell the ore now. Next we have our crystals, and these actually are orange. With all these different resources you're going to collect to be able to do various things throughout the game. Next we have our slugs, little space slugs. You remember me the Slug-a-Cola thing from Futurama? But you pick them up here on the moon. Next we have our carrots here, space carrots, and you can use these to lure some of the various Trobils, and you get them over here from Planet Pommy. Next we have our traps. These look like little cages with a tentacle coming out of them, and those you can pick up over here from the merchant ship. Next we have mega traps, and these come from the mega factory, which is right here. Some of the larger Trobils require the larger trap instead of the smaller ones you get over here. Next we have our credit tokens. They come in 1s and 5s. These are you're going to be using to trade and buy for things. And they come from the Smashed Rock planet over here. Then there's a handful of larger tokens. And these are basically, if you run out of the other ones, you have some triple carrots here, double traps, 3 ore, double slugs, and so on. And these are used, like I said, if you run out of the other ones, just so you have a few extra. Shouldn't happen very often, but it's nice to see them added in here as an option if you do. And you also have these little tokens here. They call these connection tokens. And there's going to be a market of these available up here at the Orange Station. Yeah, it's Orange Sun and Orange Station. And these are going to get shuffled up into piles, placed face down like this. There's slots on the board here for 3 of these to be face up. As like a market. And whenever you go to that station, you can pay to add these to your ship, which we'll get into in a minute. And one of the cool users over at Board Game Geek actually made up these bags to throw these in. So instead of having to shuffle these all up and stack them up face down, you can put these tokens in here, mix them up, and randomly draw them out. And I've been sitting on this for a long time because it took me a while to actually get a hold of the game. But there's an awesome user over there at BGG, gave me these for free, and had them posted in the forums for a while. But really awesome little bag, and they come in handy. Next thing we have here are the Riffraff Cards, and these go right over here. And whenever somebody lands on the Smashed Rock, they not only get their credits, but they get one of these cards. Based on what comes up, you do different things with them. They have tokens that represent the various characters. So ones that have an icon like this also have a standee. There's a little base that goes on these. And based on the text on here, you're going to put these somewhere on the board. And then, depending on what they are, every time somebody goes there, it's going to activate whatever the ability says. Then when you go there, for pirate's sake, every time somebody goes there, they have to put a resource on this. And then when you finally go there, you get to collect all of the resources that are on there, and then it goes away. There's a bunch of different kinds of these. The new ones are color-coded with backgrounds to help differentiate them, as well as having the icons that match up for finding the tokens easier. I really like the new design of those. Most of them are functionally the same. They have changed a couple of the wordings and a couple abilities on them just to make them more clear or more in balance. There is a whole stack of the standee tokens though that go with the Riffraff, as well as a bag full of bases for them. And then finally we have our Trobil cards. And there's two different kinds of these in here. There are the actual creature Trobils, and there are cities. And the creature Trobils, depending on the number of players, are going to be down here on the planet. They're terrorizing your planet. And the whole point of the game is to collect up the resources you need at the top here. In order to capture these, you go to the planet, use these resources to capture them, then you take them up here to the sun, landing on one of these spots, and eject them into the sun. For doing so, you get this amount of victory points, and some of them have different payouts for money that you get for capturing them as well. Over the course of the game, every time one of these is captured from the planet, another one is going to be drawn from this deck to replace it. Eventually, you're going to start getting these city cards, which are shuffled in, and depending on the number of players. When these come out, that locks that monster slot. So you'll have that there, and two other monsters over here. Eventually, one of these gets captured, and you keep refilling them. Eventually, all three of these will become a city. That signifies the end of the game, and these bonuses at the top are extra points awarded at the end of the game. So if you have 3 credits, you get an extra point for every 3 credits you have. You get an extra point for every 2 traps that you have, and so on. There's a wide variety of them, and you only use a certain amount based on the number of players. So the nice thing about that is it adds a lot of variety, and it changes things up from game to game. The game itself was pretty easy to understand, pretty easy to play. It plays very simply, very easy to figure out, very easy to teach, and the more you play, you start learning more advanced strategies, what things you're going to need to pick up, and so on. With most of the games, you're going to start with a single ship, and you can put your ship anywhere on your turn that you see one of these little rocket icons. So say I want to go to the moon, put my ship here on the moon, and in doing so, I would collect 1 slug. Or I could pay a crystal and get 2 slugs, or pay 2 crystals and get 3 slugs. You have those options. So you collect your resources from that, goes on to the next player, and they decide where they want to place their ship. So they put their ship there, they do whatever they want. Eventually it comes back around to you. If you have any extra ships remaining, like I said, you're only going to start with 1, you can keep playing another ship, go to a different location or whatnot. If you don't have any ships remaining, you have to spend your turn picking your ships back up, then it goes on to the next player. They're going to pick their ship back up because they only have 1. So at the beginning it goes really fast. Later on, you can go to this wormhole here, and for the cost of 3 credits and 3 ore, you can buy yourself an extra ship. And you're limited to a certain number of ships, all depends on how many players there are. But now, you have 2 ships. So your first turn, you can go around, place a ship here, goes around, comes back to you. You can now place a second ship somewhere else. It goes around again when it comes back to you. If you don't have any more, then you scoop your ships up. The other really interesting aspect is since some places are limited, like most locations only have 1 spot where you can go, if I have a ship here and somebody wants to go to the moon to collect resources, they go to place their ship there and I'm already there, they can bump me off. That puts this back to my hand and I can play it again, and when my turn comes around, saves me having to spend a turn scooping my ships back up and recalling them home. It's a really nice aspect. I haven't seen any other worker placement game use something like that, though I haven't played too many, so I'm sure there is some out there. The other thing that you have to keep in mind is if I really need traps to build up for what I'm trying to capture, and I already have a ship here, it comes around my turn again and I have a second ship. If I bump my own ship, it does not go back to my hand. It actually gets destroyed and goes back to the wormhole and I have to repurchase it. So other players bumping them back to your hand is a good thing, but you got to watch blocking yourself because you don't want to bump your own ships. You're pretty much only going to do that as a last resort. The most common places that you're going to go in the game are going to be Planet Pommy, which is this one over here with the ring, Tyson Comet, which is this over here, and the asteroid field over here. You get your carrots from here, you get your crystals from here, and you get your ore from here. After that, you start looking into some of the other places you can go. Going to the Smash Planet here will not only get you credits, but it's going to get you the Riffraff Cards, and there's everything in there from officers to pirates to merchants that just need a lift somewhere, and all kinds of interesting things in there that come up. And they're going to litter the board. Some of the cards counter other cards. Whatever they are, you draw it and immediately do what it says on there. Some of them tell you to hang on to it. Some of them tell you to put the tokens on a certain location. The only real limitation is that there can only ever be one of these tokens on any location, and none of them can be placed on the sun itself. The other locations, as we mentioned, the moon here gets you the slugs, and again, you can pay extra to get more. The Mega Factory gets you the Mega Traps, which cost 1 trap and 2 ore to get 1, or 3 traps and 5 ore to get 2. And of course, the merchant over here where you can get your normal traps from, or again, you can pay 1 credit for getting 2, or pay 2 credits to get 3 when you go there. Of course, the planet down here, it's kind of cut off the screen, but has 3 locations. This is where you're going to come to pick up the current Trobils that are in play. These are going to be off the side usually. But there's 3 different landing spots there, so you know what's in play here. You can see these out, and you know I'm going to need a carrot and a trap for that. So you're going to try to get yourself a trap from over here and a carrot from over there in order to do that. The last real location you can go to on the board is going to be the space station. And this is probably the most complicated part of this, but it's also one of the most fun parts. When you go here, you're going to pay for these upgrades that are out here on the market. Right now we have a carrot, a crystal, and a carrot. You can buy up to 3 of those at a time, and they're immediately replaced, so you can do this one at a time if you want. But on your player board, you're going to buy one of these. It's going to cost us 2 credits. Everyone costs a minimum of 2 credits, and you can place it anywhere around your player board at any of these locations. And what this is going to let you do is build up a small engine. So we buy this carrot here and we put it on Planet Pommy here. Now, every time we land on Planet Pommy, we're already going to get 2 carrots because that's what the planet does. But because of this, when we land there, we're going to get 3. That's not necessarily a good placement for it. A better idea would be to put it over on the asteroid field. So in this case, when we go to the asteroid field, we're already going to get 2 ore. Now we're going to get 2 ore plus a carrot. And we can buy more of these. So like I said, these are going to be replaced. So as soon as you buy that one, another one comes out. And that one's a credit one. Now we can pay 2 and buy another one of these. And it can go anywhere on here, but if we want to put it on the same one, it's going to cost us an extra for every one of these that's already in row. So it's 2 to put here, or it's 3 to put here. And this keeps going as you build up. You can buy another one. And if it goes anywhere, again, it's going to be 2 for any of these spots, or it's going to be 4 here, because it's 2 plus 1 for each of those. And you can keep building these up. And the object is, either you can spread them out, so every time I land someplace, I'm going to get bonus material. Or you can say, I know I'm going to have to go here, and I'm going to go there, and now if I go there, I'm going to get myself the 2 ore, a crystal, and 2 carrots. So you can build up a huge generator, but you got to make sure it's someplace you want to go. Another thing to keep in mind is to make it someplace that other people want to go to, so when you put your ship there, and you collect all of those, now people are tempted, well, I have to go there eventually, so they're going to go there and bump that back to your hand. So you can play that combinations on that too to get your ships back. And these change throughout the game. You're going to be constantly having a different selection of these to pick from, and you can keep upgrading your ship as much as you want. The big thing is, once they're placed on your player mat, they cannot be moved, so make sure you put them where you want them when you buy them. The other big thing to that is if at any point all 3 of the available connections on here are the same, they all get shuffled back into the pile and 3 new ones are drawn and put out. So there's always a variety to choose from. And that's pretty much all there is to the game. You're moving your ships around the board, placing them, collecting your icons. Eventually you're going to get enough to come to the planet, place the ship there, to pick up the various Trobils, and then move to the sun to eject them into the sun and score your points. At the end of the game, whoever has the most points is considered the winner. Also, on some of the cards like this one are limited to various player counts, so if you're playing a two-player game, not all of the cards are going to be in there. It's a very interesting, very simple to play, but complicated to master game. You're going to come up with a strategy that works well for you, but every game that is going to be different based on the Trobils that come out because of the variety in what you need to capture them. So in this case, we have a simple one that just needs one carrot and one trap. You can pick those up by going to those two locations. Where this one requires 4 slugs, which you get from the moon here, 2 traps, which you get from here, and 2 ore, which you get from here. So you're going to have to move around a bit more to get what you need, or buy the connections from here to build up that little engine to get those resources faster. So the good and the bad, over time, since the play is very simple, the game can get a little repetitive, but it's the lighthearted artwork, the interaction with the other players, and things like that that really give the game its replayability. The game itself is fun, but the mechanics are relatively simple, which is nice because it makes it easy to pick up, but as I mentioned, it does kind of get sort of repetitive over time. There is a wide variety of monsters in here to encounter, with a different variety of resources required to capture them. So that changes things up a little bit, as well as what comes up on the market will vary what kind of engine building you can do to gather things quickly. What creatures are out really depend on what you want to get. So where you're going to go is going to change from game to game because of that. And the Riffraff cards really do change things up a bit too, because you might not want to go to a certain location because then you have to pay the pirate that's there and so on. So there's a lot of things that do change it up. I enjoy it enough to keep it in my collection, and it's a fun game to play with my kids and some lighter gamers when they come over. If I'm trying to get them into board gaming, this is a very simple one to explain and play and have people pick up the basics to. So it's definitely a fun game. I've definitely gotten my play's worth out of it, and I think you will too if you're interested in something like that. I am glad that they went a little more colorful with this, and it might not look like it to you, but if you've ever seen images of the original board, it was very bland. The artwork in this has definitely come a long way, but the overall game stayed exactly the same, which is good because the original game was really good. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for our look at asking for Trobils. In the end, it's a really fun game and definitely worth a try. And if you can find somebody who has it, give it a play and see if it's something you'd be interested in owning. As always, thank you guys for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.